I'm on YouTube, so I'm used to talking, and I'm in broadcasting, so I'm used to hearing my own
That's
voice.
your thing, right?
Yeah, so I naturally don't have a problem with hearing my voice. It's a part of my job anyway, and I'm used to cameras and stuff, so.
I love that. Okay, so everything you went through, and you just keep going through more and more things.
For me,
why do you still have hope?
I mean, for me, I think it just goes back to, like I said, even before I found God when I was 16, I got close with him then, but I think even as far back as when I was a kid, I always was aware with what was around me, and I just naturally, perceived what was around me. Like, if you do this thing where, take your hand right now, look at the palm of your hand, just look at it. What do you see? Just your hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I remember as far back as even a kid, because I couldn't walk as a kid, so I had the red-handled walker. I would walk around. Even as a kid, I remember looking at my hand thinking, I can only see my hand through my eyes. It's not like watching a cartoon character where when you watch cartoons or TV, you see the whole person's body, their eyes, their hair, their mouth. But when you look at your hand, you see your hand through your eyes, and then you see the world through your eyes. So the fact that I'm able to look at the world through my eyes and my hand, there's a reason I'm here. I used to think that. So I think for me, my perspective is, God sees everything that's happening. So even if I wasn't close with him at the time, he sees how I am and how I behave and how I am. So he pulled me through a lot without it, because I think
even when we don't choose him, he chooses us continuously.
Yeah. So I think it's just my natural decision making, and God seeing that and God pulling me through that.
That's cool. I love that. I remember thinking I had a horrific car accident with my kids almost 2 years ago now. Somebody dropped an axle in the middle of a highway, and we hit it going 75 in a tiny car. But I remember thinking to myself after that moment that everything happened so fast I didn't even pray. Right? I remember flying through the air and feeling so much shame and guilt, not that we survived necessarily, but kind of that we survived, and at the end of it, and thinking as we were flying through the air that I didn't talk to God in it. And I held on. I remember holding on and just different things. But in thinking about the way that God shows up and protects you, regardless of what's going on, and the way that he designs his world, and just in all sorts of things. I remember going to Bible study actually that next week and talking about my accident, and someone was talking about I don't understand though why God would allow that to happen to you, and saying so you think God caused your car accident? And I was like, absolutely not. No, I don't think God caused our car accident. I think that things happen in the world, right? Because earth is Satan's dominion, and God has all power and authority over things. But I think that things happen in the world so that God can demonstrate his power, his strength, right? And his love for us. In the way that, no, he didn't cause my car accident, but he never left me through it either. Any moment, we survived because of God.
Yeah, I mean, I think because I worked at a Christian gospel station back in LA as an audio engineer, and it's one of the pastors that comes on the air every week, and so I was talking to because it's pastors that come on the air and they preach. So this pastor that comes, this priest, he's a doctorate as a priest. He comes on the air and he's going to preach. So as we're waiting for my boss to show up to unlock the door, because my boss was the CEO of the radio station. So I'm talking to this priest. I'm talking to the doctor, the priest, before we go, as we're waiting for my boss to show up to unlock the door, who's in charge of everything. We were talking about this, and I said to him, he said to me, why do you think bad stuff happens in the world, Brother Joshua? And I told him that, I said to him, that I think that there's evil and bad in this world, but God takes care of everybody. He makes good things happen out of something bad. He's able to, how else can I say it? I think that, COVID-19 was the worst thing that ever happened. It was horrible, but it's so many lives were lost. It was terrible, right? Mm-hmm. And I know people that got COVID too, but I think but in the end, it's God was able to take that situation, and from there, online schooling happened. Yeah. And it's from there, if it wasn't for online schooling, I don't think I would have done as well at the university level, because I transferred out of...
Yeah, to then get there.
Yeah, I transferred out of community college right when COVID hit. So when I got to university, I finally did online classes, because I wasn't allowed to in community college because my dad was like, no, you must do in person. You must do in person because he didn't want me to be robbed of the experience of being in person like this.
Okay.
So when COVID-19 happened, I was left with no choice. I could finally experience what it was like to take an online class, and I soared.
Fascinating. And you soared.
I absolutely soared, but that was
I love that.
It's an example of God sees something that's happening, but he's able to be like, okay, among this evil, I'm going to try to find some way I can make some good happen.
Yes.
So it's just like, I think it's just like, you know, and just in life, it's like even like whatchamacallit, it's like even actor and rapper Tupac Shakur, he had a really tough life, but God was able to take his bad that he went through and make sure he came out a nice person at the end, as an artist, as an actor, as a good person in general. So God was able to take his pain and that evil to make something good out of it in some way. Like he takes care of people is how I see it. He takes care of you, pull you through.
Yes, and he forges us, right? Like iron creates iron, and I think one of the most common questions I hear, since we're on this topic, is like, well, children should never be harmed though. Like, why do bad things happen to children? And I think it's a fascinating topic that I'll touch on because I was highly abused as a child and neglected and all sorts of things that should have never happened to a child, right? And I will validate that 100%, that there is a lot of harm and evil and terrible things that happen to people, to children that they never deserve. But also I think the most important part that comes out of that is I wouldn't be the woman I am today, or the mother that I am today, without those experiences. I wouldn't be the counselor that I am, the ability to sit in people's pain, right, and to recognize pain, to be able to teach people what it is to find the ability to love yourself, to find God, to crawl out of having, you know, like no family, no support system, literally no one to call in the worst moments, and figuring out how to see the love and find love. Because that's what God offers, right? Continuously. And should those things have happened? I mean, I don't know, right? We could say yes or no, but in reality, if they wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't be here probably having this conversation with you, right? Knowing the things that I know, or wanting to grow in the way that I do.
Yeah. And
I'm grateful for all the terrible things that happened in a weird way, because that's what gives us the opportunity to grow and to lean on God and actually learn who he is. Without horror, you believe that you could rely on yourself.
If you just do things your way, if you don't have God, because I know, you know, I've got God in my life, but it's like I know people that don't have God in their life, but they say, oh, I'm a Christian, but they don't live it in their life. It's like if you do things your way, you'll only be happy for a certain period of time, but if you do God's way, you'll be happy for a long time. It's like for me, before Wyoming, I almost got a job with a soccer team over, because MLS has a lot of divisions. So a lot of MLS teams have youth teams, reserve teams that play in a division called MLS Next Pro League.
Yeah.
So I got a job with a team over in that division that was the reserve team of a big that reserve team was there was in the MLS Next Pro League full of the reserve teams of the big MLS teams, the youth teams. I got a job with one of those teams in that division.
Okay.
So it was in the Gulf Coast. You know, I'll wait.
Was that when you were considering coming between here or there?
This was in February. This is January, February-ish.
Okay.
So I think February. So I still have the email, but it's like they were gonna make me a sound engineer, and they said, you know, because I know theater sound, I worked as an audio engineer, so they were gonna give me a lot of responsibilities, and I was gonna work for this professional team. No, take your sweet time. I'm in no rush.
I know. I was like, maybe I'll jump up and grab it, not interrupt you, but.
No, take your sweet time. I'm in no rush. I take your time. I'm in no rush.
Have you ever done a podcast?
I have done podcast. Yes, I have. I have done it where I'm the one interviewing and asking the questions about the person I'm interviewing, so I don't really get a chance to. I mean, it's more like
You're like interviewing them.
Like more like it's about them. Obviously, it's a discussion usually. Like obviously, when I answer and I ask questions, you're listening, and then you share a little bit of your experience here and there, bop, bop, bop.
Yes,
but it's mostly about the subject that I'm interviewing, because it's all about that. So This one is a bit different because it feels like it's a back and forth ping pong type of thing we're doing right now.
Yeah, we're just seeing where it goes.
And I'm not holding a microphone this time, or so
Yeah.
so I've done podcasts, but this is the first time I'm doing something like this, so it's a good one, and really nice. And
I've never really done them. I've done something like this once with a good friend of mine that we were going to start exploring.
Yeah.
Some different things, and then it just didn't flush out in that way. So, okay. But so you went to school,
Oh, yeah.
or MLS?
I was going to this MLS Next Pro League team in the Gulf Coast in the South. So I was gonna go there. Because South specifically, because Gulf Coast is really with a lot of different states like Texas and all, but this team was more in the South, and so I was gonna go there, and I was just so pumped because I was gonna finally work with a soccer team, which is something I wanted to do this time 10 years ago. But it's like, because when I finished high school, I told everyone I was gonna go be a sports doctor, athletic trainer, and go work with soccer players. But that science is not really up in my alley so much. So. Even though I
So then you started doing it, and you're like, maybe this is not what feeds my soul.
When you take human biology, it's not the same as, talking about stretching and muscles and soccer is not the same as taking a human biology class where you have to do all this reading and flashcards and then you get your test back and you're like, oh, this is not what I thought.
Yes.
And then you realize, okay, I don't think this is really gonna work. And then when you sit in on a human physiology class, your mind is spinning. But it's
Yeah.
So it was like, so at the time I thought I got this job. I'm going to this place, and I'm just like, I'm like yippee. And so
you're like, I'm fulfilling my dream finally. Like, here it is.
Yeah. Then but they were like, I was in LA doing freelancing and doing everything that I did over there. I was with the Clippers, and I was doing good. I had a lot of stuff going on, and they were like. They basically pulled the plug because they were like, oh, we don't think this is right for you. You'll get disinterested in the work here and you'll go back to LA. Because if you're living in LA and you want to go to some small town in the South, they're just going to be like, what is this guy thinking? He's going to be disinterested and leave. But that's not who I am.
Okay, so you were passionate about that job.
For me, I don't care where I go in the world. As long as I like what I do and I'm living my dream, I don't care about anything else.
Which is how you ended up all the way in Wyoming.
Yeah, so so then they were like, I begged and pleaded with them to not pull the plug on this because I really wanted this opportunity. It's not easy getting these chances, but they sadly did it. No matter how much I begged it, because they thought this guy's going to get disinterested and leave, and it's not good for business. But I'm not that. So they pulled the plug. I was really sad about it. But then as I look back now, I would not have, gone to graduate school at University of Southern California. I wouldn't have discovered multimedia journalism. I wouldn't have come here. I wouldn't
seen
have,
more of your purpose.
I networked enough with the Clippers and so many people I worked with that were in that organization that you see on TV, and they all told me what to do and where I need to go. And so they said go to a less competitive job market because getting a chance in LA is not easy as people think it is. So I'm just
Wyoming. Oh, we're
I applied actually to Chicago, Texas, and Arizona. I said, God, I trust you. I'm not going to stress. And then I got a text in the.
You're an impressive individual.
Thank you.
You just continue, right? It's fascinating how often we think we know what we want, and this concept of imagine if you got everything that you once thought you wanted.
Yeah.
And how many doors that God has closed for you, right? That are a blessing. But at the time, you could have just stared at that closed door in devastation and wondered, what is the point? Why would I even keep going? This is so hopeless. If this is what adulting is, if this is what it means to be an adult or Christian or whatever, I don't want it. Yeah. A lot of people say that. Why didn't you?
I think it's almost similar to what you share about the struggles and setbacks you face. It's easy to just sit and moan. When that MLS team, when that reserve team pulled the plug, I could have easily just sat and moaned. And for a moment, that happened, I got my lunch and I was eating my lunch and I was sitting there thinking, okay, what do I do now? Because I moaned as I'm eating, I kind of moaned for a little bit.
You had to feel it, right? It hurt.
But then after I moaned about it, I'm like, okay, what do I do now? And I asked myself, I'm 27, before I turned 28, this is February, my birthday's in April. So I'm like, okay, I'm 27, everything I've done up into this point, did I do everything right? And I said yes. And then I asked myself, what is one thing I never did? And I said, if I knew my career was going to be what it is, I would have gone to a school that had more resources for what I'm doing today. So then I applied to graduate school at University of Southern California, among other colleges in LA, and I got into one of the best schools in the world, and it was great. Because of that whole program I was in, even though I left it, the time I was there, I discovered multimedia journalism, and I made business connections, and my teacher taught me so much, and I left the program because I realized it's not, I don't need it, it's not necessary, but I got so much out of it.
Yeah.
So it just kind of like,
because you want to know more.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that you needed it, it's that you wanted this further knowledge.
More like I got enrolled because I thought the resources on that school were going to help me get to where I wanted to go.
With a future goal in mind.
Yeah, exactly. Because if I knew what I knew now in undergrad, no regrets, but if I went back in time, I would have told myself in undergrad, when I was in community college, look, in the future you'll be working in broadcasting and multimedia. You need to go, instead of going to staying here in the Bay, you need to go to University of Southern California. But I have no regrets.
Yeah.
No regrets at all. Like,
I want to touch on that a little bit because you said no regrets, and I mean a few minutes ago you said something along the lines of, I asked myself if I look back and have I done everything right?
Yeah.
And you said, yeah, I have. And you said it with confidence.
Yeah.
How?
I think it's just like, for me, because of how I naturally think, my mind and how I naturally think, and plus I have God in my life, so when you're close with God, it plays a role in how you treat other people, your decision making, and so, it's like, I didn't drop out of school. Like, there was a point where in community college, I genuinely thought I'd never graduate. That math ladder at the time, because we had the math ladder where you had to climb up all levels of algebra to get to the transferable math, and I was struggling bad, and my GPA was not that good, and I was getting C's, and I thought I'll just drop out. But the reason I didn't drop out is like, just because I thought about everybody in my corner that's always supported me, especially my dad, how disappointed he would have been. Mm-hmm. Then I thought about everything God has pulled me through up into this point. If I were to drop out now, then God would be like, I pulled you through so much, then why'd you drop out? Then I thought of all my friends that I went to college with that were in my Bible study. If I started to tell my friends I'm dropping out of college, I'm just going to go and work, or I'm just going to go away from school for a while and just get my associates, because the plan was, if I did get an associate's, I wasn't going to go get a bachelor's. How disappointed all my Christian and my friends would be that are like, you become the crowd you're around. So if your friends,
I think you're talking about even more than disappointment. You're like, no, I want them to know it's possible. Like, this is something that can be done. And you're like, but I had to live it and do it in order to try to tell people that this is what we could be doing. Yeah, it's like Denzel Washington said, like, he didn't say it directly, but it's like, when he was struggling in life, he said in the end, it's like, God, it's like your relationship with it's like he talked about God a lot, and I feel like your relationship with God plays a role in how you make decisions and how you live. And I think if it wasn't for God, I would have done stupid things. I would have bounced back, but then I would have had to go through a hard lesson of, I should not have dropped out for so many semesters, for like 2 semesters or something, or I should not have, like said this, I shouldn't, so I feel like when you have God in your life, your thinking is going to be a lot more better than someone who's going to be just doing what they want to do. And so I think it's really interesting, because I would say, like, I fully have God in my life, and oh boy, do I still do my own thing in my own way sometimes, and so human. And I'm curious, like, excuse my language, have you ever been an asshole to someone? Like, have you ever been an asshole, Josh? I mean, honestly, I think, like, I think it's also just the way you choose to look at something. Like, for me, I see the silver linings in a lot of stuff, so I think it's the way you choose to look at a situation. It's like, yesterday I finished listening to a podcast of a soccer player that, won a lot of trophies in the Premier League, but he says he still thinks about the trophy he didn't win. But it's like, dude, I want to tell him, but he knows that, he knows very well that the coach that ended up bringing back that trophy came after he retired. So it's kind of like the way he knows, but also he still says, even though I'm at peace, I still kind of regret not having that trophy, but I want to tell him, like, dude, you have all these other trophies. So it's kind of like, you actually have peace.
It's kind of like, it's
not that you don't have all those things, or you didn't go through that, or you haven't done or sinned like all the rest of us.
It's how you see everything, honestly. Like, I'm 28 and now I'm finally sleeping and taking care of myself in that way. I'm usually a night owl, But I'm thinking, man, I've been doing this for so long. I wish if I knew what I knew now, I wouldn't have done this. But then, would I have learned all the things I've learned if I wasn't a night owl? So it's kind of like, it's just the way I think you choose to look at it.
It's our process, right, of what we're being taken through.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because as new believers, sometimes we hear that a lot of the things you just said, and it's like, oh, God would never want me. Like, this is why I'm not welcome there, you know, or or I could never be like that. Like, that was impressive. Even I'm sitting here in, like, admiration of you, right? I mean, and that's because it's God.
Yeah.
And I love this reminder of, like, it's not that we are perfect people, right? Or that, like, everything in your life just happened to align. So, I mean, if we started to hear your story, right? We've heard some of it. Like, some of the things in your life are easy or just lined out so that you could just choose this. It's that you chose it. In every single moment, continuously, you choose, as you said, to see the silver lining, to look up at where God is, rather than around you at where the circumstances are.
I mean, you can, for me, being negative gets you nowhere, so just don't be negative. It's like one of the things I live by, and I told this to someone when they were down on their luck, it's, you know, make whatever situation you're in, you make it as beautiful as you can make it. And then because if you do that, then, because what's making something beautiful, right? You make it positive, you make it good, you know, because being
you work to learn from it.
Yeah, and
right?
it's like being negative gets you nowhere, so just don't even go there. It's like, you know, it's like...
What if people call that avoidance?
Avoidance?
Avoidance and I guess, like, the negative emotion. So let's say, like, I don't know, someone is just having, like, terrible circumstance after terrible circumstance. You know, they feel very alone, they don't have family, they are fighting, they just got fired, and they're worried they're about to be homeless.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? You need to then look at the circumstances you're in and be like, how can I make this beautiful? When you start to change that, then you're automatically going to start thinking to make it better, right?
Yeah.
Because if you decide I'm not going to think about making it beautiful, then you're just going to keep being negative.
What if people say, like, I don't know how? Or I've tried. I just keep trying.
Then you need to figure out what's the struggle that you're in. What do you need to do to get out? Break the door down, which is the struggle. Then once you do that, then you're gonna fix it. It's like if you don't have I have a friend of mine back in the Bay.
Break the door down. I just want to repeat that a little bit. Like, break the door down.
Break the door down. It's like, it doesn't matter how long it takes. You just keep banging, and it
doesn't matter how long it takes. Just keep banging.
It's like I got a friend of mine who back in the Bay. He's one of the most talented people. He's a dancer. One of the most talented people, funny, down to earth people I've ever met. And so he's trying to get his driver's license, but because of he gets seizures, so he's on a medication so he doesn't have to get the seizures. But I always keep telling him
to get a doctor to release him so he can get his license.
Yes, the doctor says keep doing what you're doing, and he told me, Josh, I want my license. I just told him keep doing the things that the doctor's telling you to do, and then you'll get your license. If you keep doing that, it'll happen for you. Keep putting the work in. Keep doing something, because you're only not going to go anywhere if you're not, because I think God will give you opportunities and he'll open doors if you're banging on it or putting the work in, right? So I'm putting the work in, and I'm trying to go where I want to go professionally, right? But if I get a call today in the afternoon and it's a job over in Omaha, Nebraska, right? And then I'm like thinking in my head, okay, it's Omaha, Nebraska, but it's not where I want to go to Texas, right?
I want to be warm.
But then I decide I'm not going to take this opportunity. That's bad, because God had gave me an opportunity, and I'm like, I'm just going to do it my way and go there. But it's like God wanted me to go there to Omaha, Nebraska. So you gotta put the work in, but you also have to be open to what God wants you to do. And I think, like, God will give you opportunities. Like a man drowning in the water, a boat came, and he's like, God will save me. A plane came, God will save me. He dies, and God says, didn't you see the boat and the plane I sent you? So it's kind of like, I just think
he's like, didn't you see I tried to save you?
Exactly.
Or no, he goes up there and he's like, God, why didn't you save me? And God's like, I sent you a boat and a plane. Like, what do you mean? And he's like, oh.
I mean,
I think people struggle a lot with, though, discernment, and I know that I have at different moments too. Especially, like, I own a practice in Gillette, right? A full mental health clinic, and I had a full caseload of patients there, and then planted a church here, which I knew was very, like, directed and led by God. And then I was working to discern, like, do I move to Casper? Do I stay in Gillette? Like, do I open a second practice? What does that mean? What does it look like? And I remember sitting at this like crossroads point where I'm like, I could do this or I could do this.
Yeah.
And continually asking people like, well, how do I know which one he wants me to do? Like, how do I know which one is mine versus his? And as I'm saying this to you out loud, it's kind of fascinating because I knew the whole time, right? I was scared. But also I remember being I can say that now with confidence, I suppose, but I remember being in the middle and genuinely not knowing if it was something that I just wanted, right? Or if it was something that God was very clearly telling me to do. And I worked to sit in discernment and prayer and reading of scripture, and talking to people that I consider godly counsel. It's so fascinating to me how often God reminds me that he says, like, I'm not going to give you a direct answer, right? Like, you already know what you have been told in a way. It makes me think of a pastor. He said, if you don't know what direction that God is telling you to go in right now, he said, I just want you to go back to the last direction he gave you, because that's still the one you're supposed to be operating in. You just tried to move too soon, right? You haven't got a new instruction because you're supposed to be operating in the other one. But how do you feel like you sit in discernment? Or how would you encourage people to know, like, does God want you to go to
discernment? What is that?
Nebraska?
What do you mean by discernment? What do you mean?
So discernment is like, that's a great question. Separation isn't the right one, but it's more like judgment. So discernment is like godly wisdom, so to speak. God gives us discernment, like the Holy Spirit. I would define the Holy Spirit as discernment.
Yeah.
So when you feel the Holy Spirit, or you make decisions based upon, this inner knowledge, that's discernment. Now I'm like, what's the actual definition?
Take your time with it. I'm in no rush.
I love that you asked.
I felt like I was gonna say, is it conflict? I thought it was conflict, but like inner like conflict with something where I want to do something where God is pointing me that way, but I genuinely would like to go that way, but he's like, no. But then you're feeling at a crossroads, like you don't want to go, but.
Yeah, so every time we feel that, we have to use discernment.
It says discernment, like, I thought that's what it was, but.
So it says, the dictionary term is, discernment is the ability to judge well. In Christian context, perception in the absence of judgment with a view to obtaining spiritual guidance and understanding. Without providing for a time of healing and discernment, there will be no hope of living through this present moment without a shattering of our common life.
So, in short form, what does it mean?
Being able to judge, evaluate. It means being perceptive.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like reading between the lines. I like this. Okay, I want to read. Discernment. The word can sound abstract, hinting at something unknown and mysterious. I often hear people say things like, I'm in a season of discernment, or I'm discerning my next step, or the way forward in a situation or relationship. But
so how would I handle being in discernment where I don't know what to do?
Yeah.
I mean, I think like asking God to give you wisdom, but it's like kind of having your core values in order. Like for me, I have my core values in order.
Yeah.
So my core
How do you know if it's of God or of you? There's a better question.
I think because I know, I mean, like for me, I've always stuck by what I wanted to do. And for me, what's always led me to where I wanted to go is what I wanted to do. I never made decisions on anything else. Like if I get a job somewhere else, I will leave Casper and I'll go there. It's like for me, if I made...
Oh, so situational.
Situational, and I pray about it. Like I said, God, where do you want me to go? And so he brought me here when I thought I was going to Chicago or Texas.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when I least expected. Even now, when I'm working in broadcasting, I meet a lot of people, and I got a call from a television station in another 8 hours from here. Was like, hey, we saw you on TV. We wanna talk to you. So I could be on my way out soon. I don't know, but the point is, I'm praying.
Do you think that Satan could ever put that call into place?
I think because I tell God every night before I go to bed, because I don't pray for myself. I pray more for others. Mm-hmm. At the end, I pray for myself with a couple things, 3 things or 4, and I say, God, wherever you want me to, the situation. Please take control of it, because I don't want to stress about it. And
so you surrender.
I surrender
every day.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Because I think when I do that, I don't feel stressed. Like right now, I don't feel stressed
Right.
about where I'm going next because I know God's got my back. He knows how hard I work, so He knows. So I don't think
You have no fear of the future.
Yeah, I mean,
even though you don't have any security.
I think it's just like just trusting in God, letting go.
I love how it's almost like you were gonna say I have all the security. Like I have God. You were like, okay, huh? That's beautiful. Oh, that was cool. Okay. Anything else you want to add, I suppose?
Anything you'd like to add?
No, that was cool.
Yeah,
I think that was, I know, it was like God will design it. If you want to talk about 1 Timothy with me for a minute, we can.
Yeah, we can, yeah.
Have you read 1 Timothy?
No, I haven't.
That's totally fair. Okay, so, what time is it? 10? Are you open to just reading it?
Yeah, I have.
Do you have somewhere to be?
I have my iPad. I can read. I have the Bible app on my iPad, so I can go get it out.
I was like, I can read it out loud too. It doesn't matter. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I have nowhere else to be, actually.
Okay, fair. I was like, I have physical therapy at 11:30, and I think I have to tell my 11 that I'm canceling. I can't remember if I did or not, but
If you do, I can give you like stretches. I do stretching every night before I go to sleep, full body. So if you need any stretching or strengthening, I can give you suggestions.
yeah, that would be. I'll see what they say today because I'm very concerned. Yeah, we went to Colorado and some different things, and finally we got some great direction. But then, so essentially the doctor said if you would have started with me and with this injury, we would have started with a brace immediately. We wouldn't have cast it all the way. Because of the muscle atrophy that occurs, it usually ends up creating a lot more damage than is necessary. So you would have still been non-weight bearing, but we would have still been doing movement so that we weren't losing functionality of the joints. And so he's like, I need you to like get rid of the crutches, like start walking. He's like, you're gonna be too weak right now. He's like, but like get up.
For you?
No, for my 10-year-old, or Aiden.
Yeah.
And so he got up off the bed, Colorado, this was 2 weeks ago, and started walking, and so he's been weaning off his crutches, and that's been really good. And we've been doing, because I had my right leg cut off and reattached, and I've had my hip socket shattered and all sorts of crazy stuff, but 126 fractures from my knee throughout my pelvis.
Jeez.
The doctor did them all.
I got a rod in my leg, and I got surgeries too, so I can relate. I understand.
Yeah. Yep. So I know a lot of the exercise, or at least some of them, right? So I'm having him do like heel slides and stuff, like trying to get that there. Yep, get back there. And then I just like, lifting and raising right here, and then simple isometrics, and different stuff. But it has been kind of frustrating because then we're sent back to Wyoming. I mean, we're told, rehab it, do whatever it takes to get this leg strengthened. We'll repeat imaging in a few months, like blah, blah, blah. But then we're sent back here, and we don't have the medical care here to rehab. So we'll see. Today will be the first time I meet with PT.
Is he able to take cold showers and baths? Because he should, if he's soaked
ice bath.
Soak his leg in cold water and try.
It looks so gross, Josh. It's like swollen. I mean, like there's so much fluid in there. They need to do some lymphatic drainage.
Have you tried acupuncture?
No, I'm going to ask them today. So hopefully this PT, I don't want to doubt them already. So God, seal, surrender, and clear all that from me. I want to go in open. But hopefully this PT knows, is very well knowledgeable, and they're going to assist and tell me all those things or be willing to do all those things. Usually when I mention my surgeries, I at least start to get like a little bit of respect, I suppose.
How did you use your leg and get it reattached?
The doctor cut it off on purpose. So his knee's looking pretty good, but the swelling is pretty insane.
So when he was playing football, did someone fall on his leg or something?
So what's weird, you almost can't tell he has a kneecap.
Which this is the?
No, it's this one. And you should see the atrophy. Like, let me show you. So it's crazy that his knee looks big, and you just questioned it because legs.
Are we recording the podcast then?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can go.
Okay, so should we close in prayer?
Yeah, sure.
God, I ask that you take all that we've said, talked about today, and you do with it what you're meant to do, God. Anything that wasn't of you, God, that was of us, of human origin, of human will, I ask that you erase it from people's minds, that you highlight the things that you would have them to know, that you work to take our thoughts captive, God, and make them obedient to you. We are willing to become willing. We surrender all to you, continuing to go forth, proclaim your advance, your directive, and your love, in your name, God. We praise and we pray. Amen.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.